All right, welcome back, everyone. Hope you had some good conversation during our brief break here. I want to go ahead and get started with our second and final session of the Tarp Association Virtual Series, Day 1. Before we kick off this presentation, I want to give you another little teaser about the giveaway that will be announced at the end of this session. High-Techs USA is generously, having trouble with that word today, generously offering 50 yards of vinyl-coated polyester style G18468. So stay tuned until the end. We'll let you know who wins and connect that person with the folks at High-Techs to get that sorted. So as I mentioned before, I'd like to thank all our sponsors for today, Acadian Industrial Textiles, Aero Industries, Buckles International, High-Techs USA, Miller Weldmaster Plastic Fabric Solutions, and Value Vinyls. We appreciate your support and partnership as always. So let's introduce our next speaker. I will invite him onto the stage now. If I can find his name on the participants list. There you are. I'm going to go ahead and add you to stage. Ryan Reeder is the engineering manager for Aero Industries. So today he will be talking about load covering systems and the wide array of applications for load covering systems used in flatbeds and dumps. And Ryan will tell us about the benefits to the driver and what can go wrong. So welcome, Ryan. Looks like you're getting yourself set up here. Yeah. Presentation is live and in good shape. I am going to mute myself and go off camera. I'll monitor the Q&A. If anything comes in, I can read it out to you, Ryan, or if you'd like to do that yourself, feel free.
Okay,
and,
hey, Aaron.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. When you're all done at the end, throw it back to me and I'll announce the winner of the giveaway.
Will do.
All righty.
Okay, well, hey, this might be kind of boring. I was asked to do a presentation and I put some stuff together, and it might, for this crowd, it may be kind of boring, but we'll give it a try. Lots of pictures. So I'm going to start with today's agenda. We're going to discuss smart wireless electronics for tarp covering systems, and at the same time review multiple covering systems and how the electronics works. And I'm having trouble with my button. So this is an example of a solid state smart electronic. There are some buttons for up and down. It's an RF receiver, so the radio frequency from your handset will operate this. I don't know if you can see my picture, but a handset would look something like this. Some people have different handsets. Little high-tech CAD drawing here. We've got our solid-state smart electronics. It's being powered through the battery, always a circuit breaker for safety. From the solid state, it goes to the Tarp motor, which drives the Tarp system. And then there can be an optional cab switch as well as the RF. Features that you might want to consider if you choose to purchase or sell one of these: you want to have a good distance for your RF control. You want an auto shut off feature so that if somebody accidentally gets on the button, it automatically shuts off. A feature you might want to consider is pulse counting through Hall effect sensors, and we'll kind of go into that later, how that works. The ability to have optional cab switch to control the system. Current sensing and adjustability. This is how we turn on and off as we sense the current. The control board is sealed from outside, so you want it to be potted and weatherproof in a very tough cover. You want a robust motor and very good power wired connections. Solid state switching. You want to look for a MOSFET, so you really don't want any relays because they wear out. And a MOSFET is just a bridge of transistors. You'd like to have an LED display that can tell you when things are going wrong and help you when you program. The LED display also allows you to see alarm codes. So if you're overcurrent, undercurrent, over voltage, under voltage, help to determine the problem if you're having one. So that's that. And then as far as advantages to explore when you're looking at these, look for something that's easy to install, integrated current sensor. So you don't want to have a separate current sensor that you put over the wire because you can install that wrong. So you kind of want that to be integrated. You want it to be easy to program. You want the error codes, as mentioned before, easy to troubleshoot problems. You want the solid state. This is kind of redundant. You want good RF performance, and you want a RF handset that can work with multiple trailers for different customers that require that. Excuse me. As far as the systems we'll talk about, or side-to-side systems, front-to-back, roll-off container, rolling system, a glass covering system, cable system, and the high-side open-top flips. So lots of people out there have side-to-sides. They're predominantly vinyl tarps because they're trying to seal the load. This one has some of the flex bows in it, you can see. The smart electronics here, when you go into a covered position, the motor pulls a lot of current. And so we're measuring that current through our smart electronics. And that's how we know to shut it off. So it works kind of like your garage door. You push the button and it automatically either goes to the closed position and stops, or it goes to the unclosed position and stops. In these applications, everyone's aware, but this is a view from the side of the trailer. The arms of these have to be able to take a barn door. The spring-loaded returns are also kind of nice, and people are aware of those. We also have our side dump applications. A lot of good products out there in the side dump market. About 90, we estimate 90% mesh on this market. The smart electronics, it does the same as it does on the side-to-side, is that it will hit that point where you start to spike the current, and once the sensor sees the uptick in current, it shuts the system off. You want to look for these guys that are wind resistant because they see a lot of wind, they want to pull them up. You make sure your system can allow dumping in both directions because people want to dump in both directions. On the front to back systems, wide variety of lengths. So these things will go 53 feet for like a high side open top trailer. You'll have a front to rear to a 15-foot truck body. On these, it's a little different because when you deploy in the covered position, you don't have a current spike. There's really no difference in current, the motor. So what we do is the motor is counting the rotation. So our electronics is counting the rotations of the motor. The motor has a little Hall effect sensor, and then it has a rare earth magnet. And every time that rare earth magnet passes the Hall effect, it's counting the rotations. And so when you program it, you let it know how far it needs to go out to be in the covered position. In the uncovered position, you can fall back to the current sense. And the nice thing about the current sense is when you got your finger on that button, you really create a lot of stress and damage to the tarp and the system. So by having the current sense, you never get that condition where you're getting really high torque out of the motor that's really damaging stuff. So there's real benefit. On the front to back, you'll see mesh, asphalt, and vinyl as far as the tarp material. Also, you'll see a high mount. One of the benefits of the high mount is through your mirror, you're not blocked on your view because of the arm. So there's a safety benefit. And we've also heard of loading benefits. Any other benefits?
Did you say tension?
Tension.
Spring tension.
Yeah, well, that you want to make sure when you get one of these that you have good spring tension to hold you in the covered positions so they don't bounce. So that's what so when you're in the covered position, when you buy these, make sure you get one that's going to give you lots of spring force when it's covered so they don't want to bounce going down the road.
Did you say visibility?
I did, to the mirrors. Our vice president of sales was kind enough to join me, so we're kind of having a little banter here. On the easy covers, there's also you'll see the competitors offer an undermount spring. So yeah, you want to make sure you capture that spring on the back side. There's all kinds of different ways you can mount the undermount spring. We talked about the high side open top 53 footers. You need to have a lot of torque to be able to flip that arm. In scrap applications that we've seen, and I should have put some pictures in here, but they're dropping all kinds of stuff on this. So you want to make sure that whatever system you get looks very beefy, and you kind of like the springs to be hidden so they can't get damaged when these big chunks of metal fall on the side of the trailer. Roll-off container is another application. On this system, the slides in the tower are going off of a hydraulic power pack, and the tarp is going off of an electric motor. So we can use the smart electronics on our tarp. The tower allows you to get the tarp up and over the load. So when they operate these, and most of you know better than I, they will operate these with one another to move the arms back and to move the tower up when you cover. And then when you get covered, they bring the tower down and bring the arms in to tighten everything up over the bed so they don't lose stuff out of the can. Mush tarps predominantly with reinforcements at the can. You'll see lots of reinforcements. These guys, they're over some difficult loads. On these guys, the cable pulls the can up onto the truck, just showing the tower. And these guys slide back and forth so you can get positioned and get the tarp down tight, because they've got various lengths of cans that they're pulling on here. On the rolling systems, you really need a vinyl tarp, and I'm sure we've got some suppliers on the call that produce some great material for these. But when we first started these, we used a supplier that had defects. And when you're making these, appearance is really important, and you really can't have defects in the roll. This is kind of a story on these types of, in our lot, we have these parked next to these. And these highly reflective sides on a sunny day will burn a hole in the tarp. So you don't want to park these right next to the sliding systems. These also come, manufacturers have drop deck models. Drop deck model will cover the top deck so that you can load, full load. And then it'll come back to be able to allow you to load on the top deck. All suppliers of these want to minimize the droop to improve your payload height so you can get the maximum height. Big wear item is the uplifts. So be aware that these guys bounce going down the road because they're supporting the tarp at the top, and they typically, if what they want to wear out. So be aware of that when you purchase one of these. These are offered in two types of rolls, and most of you know this. There's a roll that is what we'd call a roll, goes on top, gives you the most cargo. So this is a view that shows skylights. Manufacturers will have different types of skylights. And then there's also a pull curtain, which doesn't give you quite the load capacity on height, but it is easier and quicker to operate. We offer a Department of Transportation bulkhead, which is loaded to take over 80,000 pounds of force. We also offer non-DOT bulkheads. Any bulkhead with a door is a non-DOT. We also have a DOT-like bulkhead that's offered for safety. We had a large customer come to us, and they wanted more safety for their drivers. And so you can see it's made structurally to be equivalent to a DOT bulkhead. When you look at these, you want to have a quick front lock latch to release, and you want to be able to release without releasing the rear. And in the rear, you typically like to have a quick action so that the driver can get this done quickly and get to his next stop. Also, you want that lock to travel with the car because it gives you more load access from the side. As far as replacement parts, talking to our customers, wheels are kind of a problem child for these systems because they wear out and they have to be replaced. So you might look at the material of the wheels and what kind of lifetime warranty somebody might give on the wheels, so you don't have to be changing these out every year. Rear tarp clamp to be able to adjust the tarp. So that was that. And then this is an application we call a glass hauling trailer. And when you haul glass, you can't get any water, because if the glass gets water on it, it sticks together and they can't use it. So it has to be completely watertight. So here's a picture of them loading glass. This is kind of an interesting job. You can see they're wearing these full Gore-Tex suits, so if they drop this thing, it won't cut them to pieces. So they're loading it on a glass hauler onto the A-frames. You can see they have very sharp corners on the top to cut the tarp. So these are all vinyl tarps. You can kind of see that the trailers are all custom to haul the glass, and they're outfitted with the A-frames. Can't have the tarp touching any of the glass because it'll cut it. You can see that the track is on top of the A-frames that supports the tarp. Tight clearance, you can kind of see you've got to manage the tarp to get it over top of the A-frames and the glass. And you need to maximize your load access. And this just gives you an idea of what a manual tarp looks like. They're tied down to the bottom here. I think they call this a diaper design, but it takes a long time and it's really dangerous. They talked about falls. You know, guys had to climb up here to tarp this thing. So very dangerous to do it manually. And then on cable systems, a lot of manufacturers with good cable systems out there. Often they run in trains. The smart electronics used here are to sense, to stop the cover and uncovering process. These are really prone to damage when the driver keeps his finger on the button. So a current sense is a very powerful tool on these, to have that automatic garage door thing with this. You want to look, when you look for a system like this, you want to look for a low friction polymer glides that are easy to replace. So you really don't want to take these bows out of the tarp when you replace. So if these wear out, they're very easy to replace. If the bow wears and gets sucked down, they didn't uncover when they dumped and pulled a vacuum and it bent them all down. It's really quick and easy to replace these without removing the cable. There's the rear idler. These are mostly mesh and vinyl tarps, and they'll have differing degrees of how far they go over the side of the trailer. The maximum is a 6-inch drop to try to keep water out of them. Companies are going to do whatever they can to get extensions over the rear so water doesn't get in. Then another covering system is a 270-degree we sell these high side open tops. You want to keep a narrow open position because a lot of these are going into transfer stations to get garbage and then go from the transfer station, to the dump. You want to have flexible mounting so that it can mount on either side of the trailer. Sometimes there's a ladder on one side or the other. So, this is all powered by a hydraulic power pack to flip it. Several manufacturers make these. We use very heavy duty mesh. This is punishing because these front end loaders are loading these and they just smash. So this is 1/2-inch steel on this one. So when we went out in the field and looked at the competitors and ours, these really get smashed up by the loaders. So before I give it back to Aaron, I did want to kind of share a little bit more information. As far as our automation here at Aero, On our tarp floor, many years ago, we went with a cutting table, CNC. It makes a huge difference. We've got the RF traveling tables here and in Kent, Ohio. And as said by someone else, they're very helpful in efficiency. We've got two Miller 112s, and they're great for a hot air weld. We have also a giant automated Miller product to automatically make tarps that can cross seam and put grommets in, and it's quite a monster. On the fabrication side, we've got an Elumatic 4-axis that's 20 foot long to be able to do real long extrusions to quickly put holes and slots and we've got a Haas 4-axis for larger things to quickly machine. We've got Trump laser. We've got robotic welding. We've had that for like 15 years. We've got a CNC tube bender so that we can bend all of our different extrusions. We've got a 30-inch upcut saw that cuts a stack of aluminum in an instant. Everything's modeled in CAD here, so all of our designs. We have configuration models, so if we know the size of a special box, we load that in, and we've got a CAD program that we've put together that will automatically draw every part for us. We use finite element modeling to see high stress areas in designs. And we've developed several aerodynamic products using computational fluid dynamics. So that was my quick presentation. I wanted to give a lot of pictures and do it quick. I think I succeeded. I'll pass this back to Aaron.
Well, great. Thank you, Ryan, for all of that really interesting and informative information, as well as all of the visuals. I always appreciate the extra visuals in the photos in these presentations. Helps me pay attention better. So before we go today, as promised, we'll announce the winner of our product giveaway donated by High-Techs USA. I already mentioned the winner will receive 50 yards of a vinyl coated polyester style G18468. So we already did the drawing earlier in the day, and we did this in the most high-tech way imaginable. We put names in a bowl and we drew a name as if we were all sitting together in the same room. So the winner of the drawing today is Sean Gebro of TRS Industries. I hope I said that last name correctly. Congratulations, Sean. We're glad that you are here today and that you stuck around for the drawing. Sean, we'll send your contact information to Frank, who was on the panel earlier today, and of course is a representative of High-Tech, so he can connect with you directly and get you your roll of vinyl. So with all of that said and done, I hope that everyone enjoyed part one of the Tarp Association virtual series today. Again, very informative and interesting conversation. So I want to thank everybody for their presentations, and for those of you who are in attendance listening and watching and having conversations. You are welcome to stay on the platform to continue your conversations if you like. It will be open until 5:30 Eastern time, so about 50 more minutes. No obligation, of course. Stay if you want and continue to chat, or head out. But the event does automatically close at 5:30. So if you are still here, it'll kick you out at that point in time. So we look forward to seeing everybody again for part two of this series, another 2.5 hours on the afternoon of Tuesday, May 18th, 1 week from today, starting again at 2:30 Eastern. So thank you again, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.